What's good, YouTube family? It is your boy S.Craft back again with another barber tutorial. And today we're going to do a shag on Shag Daddy himself. And this is my first time ever doing a shag, so I was like, yo, you gotta let me hook you up. And this video was probably recorded many months ago, but because you've been asking for videos, here you go, just for you. So I started out obviously picking out the fro portion of the shag, and then I combed with the grain in the wave area. And now I'm going with the 1.5 Oster Octane detachable blade. That's kind of like my go-to wave blade. I just like the 1.5. Some people want a little bit longer or shorter, but for me, 1.5 blade just works really good to give nice, clean, consistent waves. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm being very careful not to cut too far into the shag portion of this haircut so that we can, kind of blend the two together. Also, when I'm in the back area where the shag starts to work its way into the waves, I'm kind of floating lightly, and then I'm digging down into the waves as I get closer to the front of the head, as you can see. Now, I apologize, my hand's in the way. It'll be out of the way here shortly, but I started out making my first guideline with the clipper blade closed. Didn't want to use a trimmer simply because I wanted to still have a little slight line that you can see going into the C cup. Then I went with my zero blade, or zero guard rather, down on my cordless Andis Masters, and I just did that to kind of knock the hairs, just to knock those hairs that are curling up, knock them down, kind of smooth them out. And then I'm just slightly opening up the clipper as I'm moving forward. While I have no guard on there, I decided to go right into the beard and just fade that so we could save some time before I put the actual guard on the blade. Basically I just went down against the grain of the beard and then kind of floated it out, towards the thicker portion of the beard, and then just turned around and faded up against it. And that's something you'll notice even here a lot, that I'll go down against the grain and then I'll come up against the grain. So right now I have a number 1 guard on there, and I'm just working that number 1 right into the 1.5 blade that we did against with the grain. But I'm going against the grain now with that 1 open, and then I'll close that number 1 and just kind of drop down a little bit and fade into that 1 open. Now I may have a 0 guard on there at the moment, and I'm just working that 0 into the one that was closed. What I like to do oftentimes is fade from the top down, even though I started with a guideline essentially. Now I have the 0 guard on there, but you'll see that I'll start, I may make a guideline, but then I'll just go ahead and work my way down with that open one. Then I'll close the one and drop down just a little bit. Then I'll drop down with the 0 guard open, and then I'll close the 0 guard and fade into that. And now I have no guard on there, just an open blade, and just cleaning that up. And obviously I see some dark spots, at the top where it's blending, at the top of the taper, that I'll have to clean up. But I'll just go in and just try to tie all this together. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the edge on it. I feel like whenever you put an edge on a fade, even though it's not complete and you still have to do detail work, I feel like when you put the edge on it, it frames the picture for you, and it just helps you to see things a lot clearer, being very careful not to push this edge back, so just tapping lightly on that edge. And there again, just trying to give that edge a nice clean pop. Even though he wanted a real tight taper on the side, he still wanted to see that C cup, so that's what we're trying to do there. And I'll go in and just do some detail work. A lot of times with my haircuts, you'll see that I will knock out the main portion of the blend really fast, and then I come in and just do detail work. Right now I have a 1.5 guard on here, and just going up above that 1 open guard, tying all that together just to make it blend really nice. And I'll just sit there and take a fine-tooth comb when it comes to waves and stuff. I'll take a fine-tooth comb, and I'll just keep combing. I'll cut a little bit, I'll comb a little bit, cut a little bit, comb a little bit, so that way I can see what I'm looking at. Now, just with the detail work, trying to clean this thing up, you know, I went from a 1.5 guard, drop down a little bit, back to my 1 open, then I'll close it a little bit, and you know, I just keep working in those areas. Kind of hard to explain this process of a fade, but you just keep on using the corners and different angles to knock out any dark spots, and I want that blend to all fall in the right direction. So from the top of the head where I'm at right now, you see it's darker and then it gets lighter. Obviously that's what a blend does, but oftentimes you can look at the dark area and you can see, you know, lines and waves in it, where we want all that to flow together nicely. Now I'm cleaning up over the ear, but the reason I said that, let me just say, the reason I said that is because many people, they focus so much on the skin to the open blade. They want that to be real blurry, but they forget about the darker hairs up top. Those have to be symmetrical as well. They have to flow together as well. Now I'm just cleaning up the back of the beard. The reason I'm holding my trimmer like that is not because I'm weird. It's just because I'm trying to find a position to, you know, cut where my hand is not in the way, which is kind of awkward anyways. But cleaning up that beard line. Now there again, the more I clean up and the more I edge up, the more I see little things that bother me, and I have to go back in and tighten them up. That's why it's important to frame out your cut with a lineup, but also move to different areas of the haircut where I went from the taper to the beard. When my eyes are off of that spot for a little while and I look somewhere else, when I look back, I can see things that I couldn't see before. And I want y'all to know that's the truth, man. That's just the truth. When you look at something for too long, you start missing things that you just don't see them, you know. But when you look away and then you look back, then you can start seeing things again. Now I'm just using my what is that? That's my Wall 1919s with the that's got the Fade Master Blade on there. I like to use the Fade Master Blade whenever I'm doing any kind of shaping of fros or beards, because it's a flat blade and it just tends to be smoother. It just makes the fro smoother. So I'm just shaping this shag up, kind of keeping it in the same pattern that it was, the same shape that it was, just kind of cleaning it up. Obviously he takes pride in his shag, so I don't want to take a whole lot off. I just kind of clean it up, make it look nice and round. There again, this is my first time ever doing a shag. I think it's pretty interesting, man, that you could take 2 haircuts and make them one. So for me, like I said, as soon as I seen him come in the shop, I'm like, yo, let me cut your hair, bro. And I recorded it. I just actually forgot to make the video, and I was going through some old video footage and I said, oh man, I gotta drop this for my YouTube subscribers. So I'm just kind of cleaning up that area on the bottom, not really making it as sharp as I normally would, because I know that the shag portion is going to kind of hang down a little bit. Plus I didn't want to go up too high on that, but now I'm just using my trimmers to kind of tie that blend on the side into, just freehanding that little transition portion from the blend to the shag, just lightly hitting those areas to kind of blend it in together where it looks like it's flowing, you know what I mean, the best possible. As you can see, I already did this side, and what you do to one side you do to the other. I didn't want to show you all of that simply because, you know, can't make an hour-long video here. And for all those that ask me, how long does it take for you to do a haircut? We have time limits. A haircut is 30-minute, haircut and beard is 45. So that's why I try to move quick when it comes to the actual haircut portion of it, so that way it gives me a little bit of time at the end to come back in and just do the detailing. I like to say that taper's looking pretty blurry. I don't know, what do y'all think? But there again, just coming in, lining this thing up, trying to clean it up, fade it into the beard. Working on the beard portion, hitting that upper line. right now making this video, it's actually coronavirus time, which I do not receive that. Come on, somebody. I'm healthy and whole, and God's gonna meet all my needs and keeping me well as well. But anyway, so now just doing some detail work. So I hope everybody's doing good that's out there, watching this video during the coronavirus pandemic. Hope everybody's well. Praying for you all. So now just combing down with the fine tooth portion of my comb, just combing down those hairs on the front line up there, and just lining it up, trying to be very careful not to push the edge back, but also to keep it sharp. And I heard someone say before, every lineup is a pushback, because you got to push some of the hair back. And the reality is, y'all seen earlier, I was trying to be really gentle on this front edge here, but we have to knock out that corner that I just knocked out to tie those together. Some people would say, oh man, it's a pushback. But no, we're just connecting it together and keeping the angle sharp. And for me, I don't have a problem with it, So we want those lines to look really sharp. I like the lines to look sharp. One thing that I'll say, I was talking to somebody today about this idea. Barbers always hit me up on IG and say, man, you got some clean blends, man. Your blends are so blurry. I love your fades. But my customers or potential customers that hit me up trying to get an appointment, they always say, man, your lines are so sharp. They focus more on lines while the barbers focus on the blends. So just make sure you got some really sharp lines. That's one of the reasons I love color enhancement as well. I know that color enhancement should not fix a haircut. It should enhance the haircut and enhance the lineup. That's why it's called an enhancement. However, when you throw that color enhancement on there, man, it really helps. So now I have a zero guard on here. Most of the time I freehand all this, but when I'm in a hurry and I got other people waiting, I'll throw a zero guard on there and just move a little quicker. That way I can still clean up the loose hairs that are hanging over the waves there that are kind of sticking out without digging down into it. So just a little quick tip. I mean, and if you suck at freehanding, listen, you need to use, you got to do detail work. You got to hit those little hairs, man. That's what sets people apart. So if you have to use a zero guard on there, do that. But don't press hard. Just, let the clipper lightly rest on those waves and just go with the grain, knocking off as many of those little loose hairs as possible. I'm telling you, people really appreciate, just that extra time that you spend, looking at the details of the haircut. That's what sets us apart. So now I'm using my Sean Cuts Hair color template, color guide. You can check him out on IG. Make sure you get one of those. And I'm just coming in with my Tomb 45 color enhancement. This is Onyx Black, which is my favorite. I like a dark, crisp lineup, and I feel like Onyx Black really does that for me. Obviously, if you're cutting brown hair, then you want to switch it up, but I love this color. It's my favorite. So just making sure we getting that enhancement. Don't forget the beard, because we want that beard lineup to really pop as well. As you can see, the cut was there before the enhancement. I hate when people are like, oh man, you use enhancement to fake the cut, or it's like, dude, the cut is clean. We just want to take it to the next level, and people really like that. Right now I'm about to apply some hair fibers. Whenever I do color enhancement, I usually always lay the foundation first with the color, and then I come in, spray some hairspray, just a little bit, then I spray my hair fibers, then I spray hairspray again, hit it with the dryer, and then I come in and I'll edge it all up. As that's drying, I'm just I seen some hairs that I didn't get with the one guard, or the zero guard, so I'm just coming in now, to hit it with the trimmer. So now I'm just coming back in with the trimmer, cleaning up all the hair fibers that I sprayed on there, and as you'll see, man, it just makes that thing pop so much more. While I'm doing this, I just want to say again, I have customers that leave their barber to come to me as my full-time clients now, because they say, Dude, my barber's old school. He will not use color enhancement, but I love it. I love the way it looks. And when I put it on them and they look in that mirror, they're like, my God, man, look how sharp that line is. That's what color enhancements will do for you. Plus, it's an upcharge, man. Do it. Man, stop all the hating. Come on, do it. It's worth it. To me, it's there again. We're not trying to hide anything. You know, sometimes they may have a little bald spot that you're trying to hide, that they just don't grow hair in the corner or something. You know, and they want to cover that. There's guys I get in, you know, that come into the shop. They are receding in both sides, and I create a whole new hairline with color and fibers, and they walk out of there with a nice sharp edge, and they're like, man, you know, no other barber has done this for me. And that's why they pay me good and I stay booked. And that's not bragging, that's just how it is, man. Give the customer what they want, right? So now we want this lineup to pop even more. So, you know, we do that by hitting it with the straight razor. This razor that I have is actually a feather razor off of Amazon. It costs about 60 bucks, but it's definitely worth it. I have people ask me what kind of razor that is all the time. That's what it is, a feather razor off Amazon. And you just squeeze the blade part together at the top of it, and you just slide the blade right in, squeeze it, and pop it right out, man. It's so easy. It's very convenient and saves time. I love it. So there again, just lining this thing up, cleaning up the lineup with the blade, and I feel like it's popping. So now I'm just coming in with the shears and just doing some freehand, hitting some of those you know, loose hairs on the shag portion of the haircut, and then I'll go back and hit, you know, the top as well. I need some of those curved shears, man. I never had those, and I need some. I feel like they just do a great job on the froze. Definitely got to get me some of those. But don't forget to come above the ear as well. You know, no one likes hair hanging over their ear. That bugs the mess out of me. So there again, just coming through, clean it up, and there is the finished product, guys. Tell me what you think. Got a nice crispy lineup. Feel like the blend came out really nice. Tied very well, I feel like, into the shag portion of the haircut. There again, my first shag ever. Feel like I did a decent job on it. He was very pleased, so I'm happy about that. And you know, there it is. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe and like, and follow me on Instagram at S.Craft_blends with a Z. God bless you guys. Have a great week.